We are back with Councilman Harvey Epstein, and I wanted to ask you about the city's response to the Legionnaires crisis. You know, we're in the middle of a crisis now, we're almost over it, but it seems that every year there's another Legionnaires outbreak, and I wonder if you think there's something we should be doing proactively because we can anticipate that next year we'll probably have another one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations we're having about, and you know, we're going to have a hearing in September on it, about doing more regular testing of water towers. When the first outbreak of Legionnaires happens in a building, notifying the residents, making sure the testing happens early, and doing all this good prevention work and education so people understand what it is, what the potential risks are, who's vulnerable to Legionnaires, so people are armed with information. What ends up happening, we see it right now at Haven Plaza in my district where there's a Legionnaires issue. People just operating under fear because they don't have good information. And we did get the Department of Health to come out and do a meeting with residents, but just it has to be more comprehensive, has to be regular, and has to be proactive before those outbreaks happen. So
another issue in I think it's your district, Washington Square Park.
That is.
There's a discussion about whether there should be gates and whether the gates should be closed at closing time. I wonder how you come down on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations we're having with people in the community. What we see right now is the NYPD is closing the park at night with the metal barricades. And the only question is, do we want to continue to have them put up metal barricades or create a more permanent structure which is gated?
Do you think there should be a gate? I mean, some people don't think there should be a gate at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I fall down on this yet, because if we're closing it, we can create something nice that closes it instead of just having those metal barricades. I do think parks should be closed after midnight. I think that's really important for public safety, that we don't have our parks open late at night and people don't then congregate there overnight. So I think there's a reason to close parks at night. Whether the fences that we put up are structured in a way that's a beautification.
So you want prettier fences?
I don't want those metal barricades that are just not as pleasant. You know, if they're putting them up, that just makes it not. Like closer to where I live in Tompkins Square Park, there are gates that match the gates and they close. No one complains about that.
Well, you know, speaking of Tompkins Square Park, there's another issue having to do with those workout bars and whether they should be replaced by the Parks Department that wants to modernize them. But other people say we like the old ones because they're good still.
Yeah, I've heard from hundreds of residents about the keeping. What we were able to do when I was in Albany was to get money to rehab the pool in the park. And what the Parks Department is talking about is replacing the pool and also the basketball court area and the workout area.
People like those bars.
They do. They love those bars. So I've been talking to parks about keeping the bars and having a plan that fixes the pool and fixes the underground water issues, but without removing those bars.
So what are the biggest challenges in your district?
I think we do have a lot of issues around homeless encampments. We've seen an increase in that over the last couple of years, the last couple of months. Since January of this year, we looked at 311 calls, and there were 556 separate locations of encampments where people complained about. With over 4,000 calls, it is the highest call issue we have under 301 in my district in the last couple of months.
So what should be done about it?
Yeah, I think we need better solutions. The current plan, I think, is not as effective. Like getting DHS out there to try to encourage people to go inside, I think it's a great idea, but we need other solutions. We need supportive housing online so people have access.
You know, I have been speaking to homeless people this past week.
Right.
And they tell me that they would much rather live on the street, despite the fact that there's vagaries of weather and everything else, than go into a city shelter. And I've talked to people even in the dead of winter when it was freezing.
Right.
So what's the answer?
The answer isn't shelters. The answer is up in a place where someone can go where they have a door that closes, their own, like supportive housing or their own apartment.
But all that's expensive. I mean, the city has a budget gap. How do you do that?
Yeah, we need to build more supportive housing. If we built 3,000 to 5,000 units of supportive housing in the city, we could probably get a lot of the street homeless issues resolved. In my district on 12th Street, we are building 600 units of affordable housing, and 300 of them are going to be supportive. We need to bring projects like that online quicker.
Who pays for that?
And that's a combination of city, state, and federal dollars that are covering the cost of that.
But the thing is that there's not an endless supply of city, state, and federal dollars. And if you take a look at the HOPE count and others, there's thousands and thousands of people in New York City that are homeless and who need a place to live. And at what point, do you have to say, well, I only have a budget that has this much. I don't have a budget that has this much. How do you prioritize?
Yeah, so we have to, those are the choices we make every year in the budget. And this year we talked about, one example is there's 6,000 empty apartments in public housing in our NYC developments.
Right.
Let's get those 6,000 apartments back online so families
I've heard that
can go in.
conversation for decades.
Yeah. Well, the mayor this year in the budget agreed to put more funding in the budget to get an additional 1,100 units on top of what we think we'll get back online. So we're going to reduce that backlog so we can get more people off the streets and more people in those houses.
So you have lived in the East Village for a long time. How has it changed?
Oh, I mean, over the last 30 years, it's like a sea change in the neighborhood. And some of it's been great, and some of it's
gentrification, and do you like it or not like it?
There are things about it that I love and things that I hate about it. My favorite pizzeria, the Two Boots Pizzeria, has been there for 40 years, closed the other day. Like institutional establishments are gone. A lot of families that my kids grew up with are no longer there. But there's a vitality of the neighborhood and a liveliness of it that it brings a lot of energy. A lot of new people want to come to the city, and it's a great place to live. So.
Would you ever change? Would you ever leave someplace else?
It's hard
I
to
mean, forgetting the fact that you have to represent the district.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine moving, and I've loved this neighborhood for decades, and it feels like such a home to me. You walk up the street and you see your friends all the time.
So we want to know a little bit about you because you just came to the city council. I hear that you are a vegan. I wonder, how did that come about? Yeah,
it's funny. I became a vegetarian when I was in college. I stopped eating meat early on in my life. And I've went from not eating meat to not eating dairy and then not adding on eggs through different parts of my life. I'm an animal person. I love animals. And I think I learned early on that I just didn't want to kill animals. So it was just a simple transition through college into adulthood.
Do you have a favorite vegan restaurant in your district?
My favorite vegan restaurant in my district unfortunately just closed, Red Bamboo.
Oh my God,
but
what are you going to do?
Yeah, Pete's Food Cafe is a great vegan place on 12th and 11th and University. That's a great vegan place as well.
What about Superiority Burger?
I do love Superiority Burger. It's a very active place on Avenue A. I go there less often because it's really crowded all the time.
What about Ha 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 Mexican?
Yeah, Ha 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 is not in my district, but I do go. There are vegan nachos.
You go out of your district to eat?
I do.
Oh my God.
They have great vegan nachos. Ha 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 is great.
Do you actually like tofurkey?
I do love tofurkey. My wife will tell me I eat it regularly on an avocado hummus tofurkey sandwich is one of my go-to meals.
So how do you think your family would describe you in say 3 words?
3 words. I think
you could have 4 if you want.
Okay. I think they think I'm very energetic, loving, caring, and thoughtful. I think that's how they think about me.
So is this, being in the city council is a term limited situation? You get 8 years.
Yeah.
What's next?
I don't know what's next. I have 7.5 more years in the city council. That's a long time. So I spent 8 years in Albany, 8 years in the council. I had a legal career for 30 years running legal services offices. We'll see where the wind blows.
And then last but not least, what's the difference for you between being in Albany, where you were an assemblyman for a long time, and being in the city council, which is, here in New York City? I know that having to commute is one of them, but the difference in terms of what each organization does, what each legislature does.
Yeah, so I think Albany has got a lot more legislative power on larger policy issues, and in the city council you have a lot more local power on land use and neighborhood issues. So I think I spent a lot of time working on larger legislative issues around environmental issues, housing policy, and now I get to spend a lot of time working on local issues like, can we build that affordable housing project here? How do we improve the street life? How do we improve sanitation, neighborhood issues, encampments? So it's really an interesting mix of having both experiences, been really rich in my life, and be able to serve my community in a variety of ways.
Why did you decide to switch?
I think, 8 years in Albany is a long time.
Yes, it is.
I got to do a lot of the work I wanted to do, and I felt like it was an important time for me and my family for me to do local work and come back here and have impact on my city.
Harvey Weinstein, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you at home for joining us as well.